What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So in the last video, we went over the 3 things that we like most about the uforce 1000 XL. Today's video, I'm going to go over 3 things we don't like about the uforce. But to give you a quick rundown, if it's your first time at the channel, it's our 2025 Cfmoto uforce 1000 XL. We got just under 200 miles on it. We added some things to it. Center console, we added to it. Whip lights, soundbar. I think that's it as of now. That's where we stand. But the first thing I'm going to get into as a dislike, and everybody seems to agree, is the seats in these things. They're not, I mean, they're not the most comfortable thing, but they're obviously not the worst thing to sit in. Like I said before, this is a utility style, but a lot of people use it for both mudding and off-roading and etc. But I mean, the seats are pretty straight up, you know, compared to like a Razor or like a Can-Am, not Defender, but the Mavericks and stuff like that. More your sport side-by-sides. They more kind of, you sit down in them. These are kind of sit straight up. So as you can kind of see here, you kind of got a straight up seat. But I mean, I don't think it's too bad, but I wish they were a little bit more angled, I guess you would say. But obviously you can always do different things to them. Obviously you'd have to reupholstery and put different cushions in them, but I don't think they're too bad. The back seats to me are more comfortable. I don't know if that's just because of the way they're sitting, but to me, they seem a little bit more comfortable, but they do sit higher, the backrest. Obviously, if you look at it here, your seats are kind of in line. I mean, they're a little bit higher in the back, obviously, because you kind of got stadium seating, but the backs, if you can kind of see, are a little bit higher than these ones, which I don't know if that makes a difference. But width-wise, it just looks like the same style cushion from front to back. So, but that's one thing I would change a little bit, and maybe, like I said, have it more of kind of an angle rather than kind of straight up. But some people like it, some people don't. But personal preference, I guess. But that's one thing I would definitely change on this if I could. Secondly, is the seat belts. So the seat belts, when you're sitting in here, they kind of run up and ride on your neck line. But I know my father-in-law, who has a side-by-side as well, his does the same thing. So what I've done here to kind of fix that situation is I've bought these little buckles off of Amazon, and they kind of sit in there and they don't let it go as far. So like now, instead of it going all the way back, it kind of, I don't want to say, it's not loose. So you can adjust these to where they're not totally loose on you, but some people have them all the way down, some people have them so they're just blatantly loose, but we have them kind of set so rather the kids are in it and we're in it, it kind of adjusts to about the same size, so it's not loose, but it's not also riding on your neck and causing a whole bunch of, I don't know, they just don't sit right where they're seated on you. But I know that's, at least in my father-in-law side-by-side, does the same thing, so I don't know if it's like that for every other side-by-side, but definitely with the uforce, it definitely kind of rides right on your neck. And the same with the back. So we've done the same thing with the back here. Put these in, and they're really easy and they're really cheap. So I think we paid, I don't know, 10 bucks for all of them, 5 bucks for all of them, something like that. But the center ones obviously don't need it because they're way lower. So definitely would change those. I mean, the only way I could really see that is if they would have put the seat belt bracket down lower so it wasn't so far on you. I would help a little bit. The backside, obviously the same way, you'd have to kind of drop where it is and they'd have to have it in a different spot. But other than that, I mean, they weren't too terrible without those, but those definitely make a world of difference. So I would definitely change those out if you guys have one of these. Thirdly, and the last one I'm gonna go over, is the lights. Like I said, they have LED lights. They are nice, but they're not very bright. They don't seem to shine too far. I mean, they definitely would work, you know, when you need them, but I'd like something a little bit brighter. So I think, like I said in the previous videos, we're gonna add a light bar to this thing. But I don't do a whole lot of night riding, so I mean, obviously down the road, if you're running when it's kind of like that weird area where it's kind of dark and kind of not, it would be nice to have a little bit brighter lights. But they are bright up close, but once you get, you know, past 10 feet, 5 feet, it's they're not the best, but I would definitely change those. The tail lights are really super bright, but the front ones, which I know it's obviously going to see hard on camera, but I can kind of hook them up and see what I'm talking about here, because they're not, once again, they're not like they're not bright, but they're not super bright. So as you can kind of see here on the line, now these are dims, so if I switch them out to highs, that's what the highs look like. Obviously they're going to look bright as crap on camera, but once you're actually out at night, they're not the super brightest. But and then here's what the lows look like. Obviously they kind of got the little line underneath here, and then when you switch to highs, this is what she looks like, which again just kind of turns that one off, which I'm assuming you might be able to tap into it, and so they're kind of like all on, like the old Chevys used to be, which I'd obviously think I'm gonna have to look into that, because that'd actually be pretty cool if you could have them both be on at the same time. But it would definitely help. Like I said, light bar would obviously take care of that, so that's another thing we would change on that. So once again, just to kind of recap, obviously the seats, they're not the most comfortablest, but it's kind of a personal preference thing. Obviously, like I said, you could do a little bit of different things, reupholstery the back. I think that would help, or even the lower one if you kind of added more cushion and kind of brought it out, that would help. Secondly, the second thing we would change is obviously the seats. Not the seats, but the seat belts. And like I said, the solution we found for that is these little belt things. They were on Amazon. You can get them pretty much anywhere, but we bought them off Amazon for, like I said, $5 to $10. And then thirdly, the lights, which you could fix that by a light bar, or like I said, they're not terrible. We don't ride that much at night, so really no biggie for us. But that's three things we kind of found that we didn't like most about this thing. But other than that, like I said in the first one, we went over the three things we like the best. Still waiting on doing the turn signals. That'll be coming soon, and then we'll go from there and find us a light bar and get that installed. But thanks again for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get this thing up to 500 subscribers. Appreciate you guys. If you have any questions on the uforce or anything like that, give a shout to me. I'm definitely willing to give you my opinions on them and go from there. Peace.